Hello Zenith women, and welcome to your favorite Sigma female channel. She who walks alone knows the path better than those who follow the crowd. A Sigma female is the rare, intriguing type who doesn't just break the mold, she walks right past it without a second glance. Fiercely independent and utterly unbothered by societal expectations, she's the woman who turns heads without trying and commands respect without a word. In a world that pressures everyone to conform, she's a mystery wrapped in resilience, sealed with confidence. But here's the twist. While many people spend their lives avoiding conflict or placating others, the Sigma female simply doesn't tolerate anything that doesn't align with her values, and that's a fact. Studies even show that those with a stronger sense of self-respect are more likely to set clear boundaries, a key trait of Sigma females. What won't she tolerate? Well, let's just say if you're the type to meddle, manipulate, or simply bring mindless drama into her orbit, you're in for a quick exit. She's not playing games, and she's certainly not here to impress anyone. Number 1. Shallow motivations. Sigma females have a natural radar for spotting shallow motivations, and they have zero patience for people who wear ambition like a mask just to impress others. If someone's drive revolves around superficial goals, like flaunting a status symbol, collecting empty accolades, or just stacking up likes and followers, she's already mentally checked out. For her, life isn't about playing a part or keeping up appearances. It's about purpose and genuine growth. She doesn't need a fancy title to feel important, nor does she see success as a shiny trophy meant for display. People who thrive on external validation strike her as misguided at best, or downright boring at worst. And that's the thing. There's a sense of dull predictability in those who live for surface-level achievements. If someone is constantly dropping humble brags, name-dropping, or flashing their accomplishments, she sees it for what it really is: insecurity dressed up in designer labels. What's amusing is how often people try to impress a Sigma female with these shallow antics, only to be met with polite nods and subtle eye rolls. She's too grounded to care about how impressive someone's Instagram looks or how many titles they've stacked after their name. What actually impresses her is a sense of purpose and the courage to carve out a path that has real meaning. If that's not there, she's out before the conversation can even start. She's drawn to depth, to ideas that go beyond social status and short-term gratification. So when people come at her with empty aspirations, it's a bit like serving fast food to a chef who spends her days perfecting fine cuisine. It's just not going to fly. To her, people with shallow motivations are trying to sell her sand on the beach, and she's not buying. Number 2. Unquestioned loyalty to tradition. Sigma females have an inherent distrust of blind loyalty to tradition. To them, tradition isn't sacred simply because it's been around for ages. It's only as valuable as the meaning it brings to one's life. If something doesn't align with her personal values, she won't follow it out of a sense of duty or nostalgia. She needs to understand and connect with it, to find relevance in it on her own terms. Simply put, if there's no reason beyond, "This is how it's always been," she's not interested. This approach can be unsettling to others because, for a Sigma female, there's no automatic reverence for customs or ways of doing things simply because they've been accepted for generations. She examines each practice, tradition, or belief closely, filtering it through her own standards and beliefs. If it holds up, she may embrace it. If not, she will discard it without guilt or hesitation. This approach isn't about being rebellious for its own sake. It's about living authentically. What stands out is her determination to shape her own path, unburdened by unnecessary rules or outdated expectations. Her choices come from a place of personal conviction, and that makes her unshakably grounded. This is a woman who doesn't need approval from society, family, or peers to make decisions that feel true to her. She values progress and growth, and she's unafraid of leaving traditions behind if they hold her back. The Sigma female's independence isn't just a personality trait, it's a way of life that's fully aligned with who she is and what she stands for. She doesn't compromise for the sake of tradition. Instead, she's on a journey to create her own legacy, driven by purpose, guided by her own values, and entirely unapologetic. Number 3. Intellectual dishonesty. Sigma females have a deep respect for truth and integrity, and they hold themselves, and those around them, to a high standard of intellectual honesty. When people twist facts or avoid the truth to fit their own agenda, it strikes a nerve with them. For a Sigma female, intellectual dishonesty is one of the most disrespectful things someone can do. It undermines the foundation of any meaningful conversation and exposes a lack of genuine critical thinking. She isn't interested in debating someone who manipulates information, cherry-picks data, or avoids addressing uncomfortable truths to protect a fragile narrative. When someone attempts to distort the facts, a Sigma female immediately sees through it. She values rational, open-minded discussions where ideas are challenged and refined through honest exchange. If a conversation feels like an exercise in intellectual dishonesty, she won't hesitate to shut it down. She has little time for people who argue not to seek truth, but to defend an opinion, often at the expense of accuracy or reason. For her, a debate is an opportunity for growth, but only if it's based on genuine intellectual engagement, not on bending reality to fit someone's preconceived notions. Sigma females are also highly self-aware, and they know that dishonesty, whether in the form of manipulation, omission, or distortion, undermines the integrity of any relationship, personal or professional. She can't respect anyone who engages in these tactics because it shows a lack of respect for the truth and, ultimately, for herself. Intellectual dishonesty isn't just a flaw to her. It's a fundamental breach of trust. If someone can't communicate openly and rationally, she won't waste her time engaging with them. Respect for her is built on truth, and without that foundation, there's no room for any meaningful interaction. Number 4. Inauthentic flattery. Sigma females can spot inauthentic flattery a mile away, and it's something they have absolutely no patience for. While genuine compliments are always welcome, empty praise feels like an insult to her intelligence. She understands the difference between a sincere acknowledgement of her strengths and hollow words meant to curry favor. To her, flattery without substance feels more like a tactic, a way for others to subtly manipulate her or win her over. And that approach won't get anyone far. One of the reasons Sigma females can see through false flattery so easily is their sharp insight into people's motives. When someone starts layering on exaggerated praise, she senses the hidden agenda behind it. Is this person trying to get her on their side? Are they angling for a favor? Whatever the goal, if it's wrapped in superficial compliments, she's not interested. To her, it feels disingenuous, like someone is trying to play a game and she simply isn't willing to play along. The Sigma female is drawn to people who are real with her. She values honesty over pandering, straightforwardness over embellishment. If someone genuinely admires her, she'll respond with appreciation, but she won't be influenced by words that lack sincerity. In her world, respect is earned through action, not through sweetened words designed to get something in return. Flattery without depth doesn't stand a chance with her, and anyone who tries it will find themselves quickly dismissed. She doesn't need to be buttered up or convinced of her own worth by someone else. She knows exactly who she is. People who genuinely see her value will respect her without the need for shallow praise, and she keeps her circle filled with those who do exactly that. Number 5. Energy vampires. Sigma females protect their energy like it's gold, and they don't give it away easily. For them, energy is a precious resource that fuels their goals, passions, and inner growth. So when someone tries to sap that energy by bringing endless negativity, complaints, or drama, it's more than an annoyance. It's a deal breaker. Sigma females are highly attuned to their own needs and are deeply selective about where they place their emotional investment. If someone becomes a drain, she's not afraid to cut ties to protect her peace. This isn't about being cold or uncaring. It's about self-preservation and respecting her boundaries. Sigma females understand that constantly supporting someone who only takes without giving back creates an unhealthy imbalance. It's exhausting to bear someone else's emotional weight without any reciprocity, and she knows that her energy deserves to be directed toward those who respect it. She's not interested in fixing people who refuse to help themselves, nor will she stay around for endless cycles of self-imposed issues. She knows her limits, and she recognizes the value of emotional independence, not only for herself, but for those she surrounds herself with. People who expect her to constantly listen to their problems, prop them up, or soothe their insecurities will find that she doesn't stick around long. Sigma females won't let anyone siphon off the energy they work hard to protect. By guarding her energy, she creates space for people who bring positivity, growth, and mutual respect into her life. For her, self-preservation is a priority that enables her to be her most authentic, fulfilled self. Anyone who disrupts that balance is simply not worth the toll, and she'll make the decision to walk away without hesitation. Number 6. Imbalanced relationships. Fairness is non-negotiable for Sigma females when it comes to relationships, and they have a keen eye for imbalances. To them, a relationship should be built on mutual effort, shared respect, and equal emotional investment. If they find themselves constantly giving more than they're receiving, whether that's in terms of support, time, or commitment, it raises a red flag. Sigma females are not interested in being anyone's emotional crutch or one-way source of support. The moment they feel they're carrying most of the load, they start questioning the relationship's true value and intentions. This isn't about keeping score. It's about preserving their own well-being and maintaining respect for themselves. Sigma females understand that a lopsided dynamic breeds resentment, and they refuse to stay in situations where they feel undervalued or taken for granted. They're not afraid to call it out when they notice an imbalance, but if things don't change, they'll detach to protect their sense of self-worth. Detaching doesn't mean they're cold or uncaring. It means they're aware of their own boundaries and won't compromise their peace of mind for the sake of keeping a relationship alive. They value relationships that uplift, inspire, and support them just as much as they give in return. For them, true connection is about reciprocity and shared respect, not one person bearing the emotional weight for the other. If someone is consistently unwilling or unable to contribute equally, the Sigma female knows that the relationship is no longer a healthy part of her life. She won't hesitate to step away, knowing that balanced relationships are worth waiting for, and that anything less is simply not worth her time or energy. Number 7. Idle gossip. Sigma. Females steer clear of idle gossip and view it as a pointless, energy-draining habit. For them, there's a fine line between meaningful conversation and the shallow chatter of dissecting other people's personal lives. They see gossip as a distraction that adds no real value and often harms more than it entertains. To a Sigma female, gossiping about others feels like a small-minded way to pass the time, especially when there are more fulfilling ways to connect and engage with people. Instead of getting swept into trivial talk, Sigma females focus on conversations that inspire, challenge, or bring about new perspectives. They'd rather explore ideas, discuss their ambitions, or learn something new than waste their time on who's dating who or who made a mistake at last weekend's party. To her, gossip comes off as a sign of insecurity or boredom, and those who indulge in it rarely hold her interest. She respects people who bring substance to the table and who, like her, keep their attention on things that genuinely matter. She also values privacy and respects the boundaries of others, just as she expects hers to be respected. Gossip, for her, crosses a line because it often involves making assumptions or spreading rumors without context. The idea of being the subject of baseless talk is something she finds unappealing, so she avoids adding to that cycle for others. Sigma females naturally distance themselves from anyone who thrives on gossip. To her, a person who can only talk about others has little to offer in a meaningful connection. With a clear focus on personal growth and real connections, she chooses her words and her company wisely, knowing that where attention goes, energy flows. Number 8. Limited ambition. Sigma females approach life with a deep commitment to growth, and ambition is woven into everything they do. They set high goals, often ones that push the boundaries of what others might see as possible or practical. This drive is central to who they are, and anyone who tries to restrict it immediately signals to them that they don't understand or support her journey. Suggestions that her goals are too ambitious or unrealistic aren't just unwelcome. They're seen as a reflection of the other person's limitations, not her own. When someone attempts to downplay her ambitions, a Sigma female quickly recognizes it as a projection of insecurity, fear, or complacency. She knows that limits often come from within, and that other people's doubts are usually rooted in their own fears. She won't allow someone else's narrow perspective to influence her path, and she certainly doesn't seek validation for the vision she holds for herself. Her goals are hers alone, chosen for reasons that others may not see or understand, and she's fine with that. This independence means she often walks a solitary path, refusing to let anyone's doubt weigh her down. If someone insists on labeling her dreams as too big, she'll simply move on, preferring the company of those who encourage rather than discourage. Her focus remains on her growth and the continual pursuit of her goals. For her, ambition is about tapping into her fullest potential, and she won't sacrifice that to accommodate someone else's limited view of what's possible. Ultimately, Sigma females see challenges as opportunities and doubts as motivators. Rather than shrinking to fit someone else's expectations, they rise to meet their own, fully committed to their path and unshaken by anyone who can't keep up. Number 9. Passive-aggressive behavior. Sigma females have no tolerance for passive-aggressive behavior. They value directness and honesty in communication above all else. To them, playing games with words or emotions is not only inefficient, but also a sign of immaturity and lack of emotional intelligence. When someone expresses dissatisfaction through indirect comments, sarcasm, or subtle digs, a Sigma female sees it for what it is, an avoidance of confrontation and a failure to engage in honest communication. She's not interested in decoding mixed signals or second-guessing someone's motives. For Sigma females, clarity and openness are essential for any healthy relationship. They don't have the time or energy to waste on passive-aggressive tactics that only serve to create confusion and resentment. If something bothers her, she will address it head-on, and she expects the same from others. If someone is unable or unwilling to communicate openly, she'll lose respect for them quickly. In her eyes, not being upfront is a form of dishonesty, and dishonesty has no place in her life. Sigma females prioritize respect in all of their relationships, and that includes respecting each other's ability to communicate effectively. A passive-aggressive approach undermines that respect, making it clear that the other person is either unwilling to be truthful or too afraid to confront issues directly. In either case, it's a deal-breaker. She doesn't have the time to play guessing games or try to decipher veiled insults. Once a Sigma female loses respect for someone due to passive-aggressive behavior, it's nearly impossible to regain it. She's not in the business of tolerating manipulation or cowardice, and she won't stick around to teach someone how to communicate. If a person can't be honest and direct, they'll quickly find themselves out of her inner circle. Number 10. Fear-based thinking. Sigma. Females live for freedom and independence, and they know that growth, success, and fulfillment require stepping outside of comfort zones and embracing uncertainty. They don't subscribe to the idea of playing it safe or letting fear dictate their choices. For them, fear-based thinking is a constraint, a mental barrier that prevents people from reaching their full potential. If someone tries to instill fear in an effort to limit her options or keep her from taking risks, they are quickly dismissed. She sees fear as something that holds others back, not something to be entertained or nurtured. When someone expresses constant caution or speaks in terms of what-if scenarios that rely on the worst outcomes, a Sigma female simply isn't interested. She doesn't need someone else's fearful mindset weighing her down. She thrives on challenges and the idea of forging her own path, and she's unafraid of the unknown. While others might be paralyzed by the fear of failure or rejection, she sees those things as part of the journey. Failure isn't a setback to her. It's an opportunity to learn and grow. People who can't embrace this mindset, those who live their lives through fear, don't fit into her world. The moment someone tries to impose their fear-based thinking on her, whether it's through negativity, discouragement, or an unwillingness to take risks, she won't hesitate to walk away. She's not going to allow anyone to hold her back or make her second-guess her choices. Sigma females understand that true freedom comes from making bold decisions, even when the future is uncertain. Fear may dominate the minds of many, But for Sigma females, it's something to be conquered, not something that governs their lives. If you're stuck in fear, you're simply not someone she's going to waste time with. Sigma females are unwavering in their standards, and they have no tolerance for behaviors that compromise their sense of self or disrupt the balance they've carefully cultivated in their lives. Whether it's manipulation, dishonesty, or people who try to impose limits on them, they quickly recognize these toxic traits and dismiss them without hesitation. Their strength lies not just in their independence, but in their ability to protect their emotional and mental space, allowing only those who offer respect, truth, and reciprocity into their world. At the heart of it all is a fierce commitment to authenticity, both in themselves and in others. They don't engage in games, false pleasantries, or empty gestures. Instead, Sigma females seek deep, meaningful connections that challenge and nurture their growth. They thrive on freedom, and they won't compromise that for anyone or anything. For those who understand the value of directness, honesty, and genuine effort, Sigma females make loyal allies and powerful partners. But for anyone who brings negativity, deceit, or manipulation into the mix, they'll find themselves quickly excluded from the Sigma female's life. She knows her worth, values her peace, and expects nothing less than authenticity in return. And when you meet her on that level, she will support, respect, and empower you like no other. But cross those boundaries, and she'll walk away without looking back. Because to a Sigma female, staying true to herself is the only path worth walking. If you've found these insights into the world of Sigma females eye-opening and empowering, don't miss out on more content like this. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and join a community that values authenticity, growth, and the courage to live on your own terms. By subscribing, you're not just keeping up with the latest, you're committing to a journey of self-awareness, independence, and unapologetic strength. So go ahead, hit subscribe, and let's keep the conversation going. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching and bye.